Vampire in Paradise, Chapter 1. Florida, 2015.
Oh, man.
Sometimes life throws you a lifeline, sometimes a lead sinker. No one watching Marissa Lopez emerge from the medical center in downtown Miami would have guessed that she'd just been delivered a death blow. Not for herself, but for her 5-year-old daughter, Isabel. Marissa had become a master at hiding her emotions. When she found out that she was pregnant midway through her junior year at Florida State, and her scumbag boyfriend, Chip Daughtry,
Daughtry?
It skipped campus faster than his $200 running shoes could carry him.
Wow.
When her hopes for a career in physical therapy went down the tubes, when she found out 2 years ago that her sweet baby girl had an inoperable brain tumor, when the blasted tumor kept growing and Izzy got sicker and sicker, when Marissa had lost her 3rd job in a row because of missing so many days for Izzy's appointments. And now, well, she refused to break down now, either, not when others could see. And there were people watching, looking like a young Sophia Loren, not to mention being 5'11" in her 3-inch heels. She often got double takes and the occasional wolf whistle.
Okay.
And she knew how to work it, especially when tips were involved at the Palms Health Spa, where she was now employed as a certified massage therapist, as well as at the salsa bar where she worked nights at a second job. Was she burning the candle at both ends? Hell yes. Bitch, so am I. She wished she could do more. Slinging her knockoff Coach bag over one shoulder, she donned a pair of oversized fake Dior sunglasses. Her scoop-necked white silk blouse was tucked into a black pencil skirt, belted at her small waist with a counterfeit red Gucci belt. Walking briskly on pleather Jimmy Choo knockoffs, she made her way down the street to at the side street, a 10-year-old Ford Focus. Not quite the vehicle to go with her seemingly expensive attire, a carefully manufactured image. Little did folks know that hidden in her parents' garage was a fortune in counterfeit items, from Rolex watches to Victoria's Secret lingerie, thanks to her jailbird brother, Steve. A fortune that could not be tapped because someone besides her brother would end up in jail. Probably me, considering the bad luck cloud that seems to be hanging over my head. It wasn't against the law to wear the stuff, just so long as she didn't sell it. To her shame, she'd been tempted on more than one occasion this past year to do just that. Desperation trumps morality on occasion. So far, she hadn't succumbed, though all of her friends knew where to come when they needed something special. Her parents had no idea what was in the green-lidded bins that had been taped shut with duct tape. They probably thought it was Steve's clothes or other worldly goods. Ha! Once inside her car with the air conditioner on full blast, Marissa put her forehead on the steering wheel and wept. Soul-searing sobs and gasps for breath as she cried out her misery. Marissa knew that she had to get it all out before she went home, where she would have to pretend optimism before Izzy, who was way too perceptive for her age. Marissa's parents, on the other hand, would need to know the prognosis. They would be crushed, as she was. A short time later, by mid-afternoon, with her emotions under control and her makeup retouched, Marissa walked up the sidewalk to her parents' house. She noticed that the Lopez plumbing van wasn't in the driveway, so her father must be still at work. Good. Marissa didn't need the double whammy of both parents' reactions to the latest news. One at a time would be easier. Marissa had moved into her parents' house, actually the apartment over the infamous garage, after Izzy's initial diagnosis 2 years ago, to save money and take advantage of her parents' generous offer to babysit while Marissa worked. Her older brother Steve, who had been the apartment's prior occupant, was already in jail by that time, serving a 2 to 6 for armed robbery. The idiot carried an old Boy Scout knife in his pocket when he'd stolen the cash register receipts at the 7-Eleven. Receipts?
Receipts. I'm sorry. Receipts?
Stole the cash register receipts at the 7-Eleven.
Why would I... What?
Ironically, he'd never been nabbed for selling counterfeit goods. His side job, so to speak. Receipts.
Receipts. Did the receipt paper, maybe?
Maybe. Unfortunately, this wasn't Steve's first stint in the slammer, although it was his first felony. She hoped that he would learn something this time, but she was doubtful. Marissa used her key to enter the thankfully air-conditioned house. Immediately, her mood lightened somewhat in her home's cozy atmosphere. Overstuffed sofa and chair, her dad's worn leather recliner that bore the imprint of his behind from long years of use, and the smell. The air was permeated with the scent of olive oil, onions, and green peppers, along with the dark, rich Cuban coffee. It was Monday, so it must be ropa vieja, or shredded beef, her father's favorite, which would be served over rice with freshly toasted Cuban bread with warm butter. Knowing her mother, there would be natilla for dessert. Izzy was asleep on the couch where she'd been watching cartoons on the television that had been turned to a low volume. Mima was a stickler for the afternoon siesta. The pretty, soft pink and lavender afghan her grandmother had crocheted covered her from shoulders to bare feet. But her thin frame was still apparent. There were dark smudges beneath her eyes. Even so, she was cute as a button with her ski-jump nose and rosebud mouth, thanks to her father.
Rosebud mouth, huh?
Ski-jump nose. Oh, I get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sloping?
Rosebud mouth.
But I guess because she has red lips?
I guess. She'd inherited a Latin complexion, dark dancing eyes, and a frame that promised to be tall for Marissa, who was no slouch in the good looks department, if she did say so herself.
You've already said so.
No doubt about it, Izzy was destined to be beauty when she grew up, if she ever did. Marissa put her bag on the coffee table and leaned down to kiss the black curls that capped her little girl's head. She and her daughter shared the same coal-black hair, but Marissa's was thick and straight as a pin. At one time, Izzy had sported a wild mass of dark corkscrew curls, all of which had been lost in her first bout of radiation. A wasted effort. The radiation had turned out. To everyone's surprise, especially Izzy's, the shorter hairdo suited her better. With a deep sigh, Marissa entered the kitchen. Her mother was standing at the counter, shredding with a fork the flank steak she'd slow-cooked in special seasonings all day. She wore her standard daytime uniform. A richly embroidered apron covered a blouse tucked into stretchy waist slacks and curlers on her head. Soon she would shower for her favorite soap from Spain, Maja, and change to a dress, control-top pantyhose, and medium pumps. Her black hair all fluffed out, lipstick and a little makeup applied to greet Daddy when he got home.
Okay.
We're in the 50s again. It was a ritual she'd followed every single day since her marriage 32 years ago, just as she maintained her trim, attractive figure at 59, to please Daddy as much as herself.
I thought this was 2015.
Yes. As for her father, even with the little paunch he'd put on a few years back and receding hairline, when he walked into the house wearing his plumbing coveralls, Marissa's mother had been known to sigh and murmur, "Men in uniform." Marissa's mother must have sensed her presence because she turned abruptly. At first glance she gasped and put a hand to her heart, not hiding anything from a mother. "Oh, Marissa, honey," her mother said. Making the sign of the cross, she sat down at the kitchen table and motioned for Marissa to sit too. First-generation Cuban Americans, they'd named their firstborn child Estefan Lopez. He became known as Steve. Marissa Angelica, who came 5 years later, a miracle baby. For the couple who'd been told there would be no more children, was named after Abuela Lopez back home. And Tia Angelica, who was a nun serving some special order in the Philippines. Tell me, her mother insisted. Dr. Stern says the tumor has grown only slightly in the past 2 months, but her brain and other tissue are increasing like any normal growing child, and pressing against. Tears welled in her eyes, despite her best efforts. Oi, Mima! He says without the experimental surgery she only has a year to live, and even with the surgery it might not work. Izzy's only hope is and it was a slim one at best, with some new procedure being tried in Switzerland. Because it was experimental and in a foreign country, insurance would not cover the expense. Marissa had managed to raise an amazing $100,000 through various charitable endeavors, but she still needed another $70,000. That $70,000 might just well be $100 million, considering Marissa's empty bank account, as well as that of her parents, who'd second mortgaged their house when Steve got into so much trouble.
So wait, if she raised that much money, where did it go? Why is her bank account empty?
Probably to pay off all
Medical bills?
Yeah, all the other medical bills.
I suppose.
She and her mother both bawled then. What else could they do? Well, her mother had ideas, of course. After drying Marissa's tears with a handkerchief she always kept in her bra, her mother poured them both cups of café con leches, her special brewed coffee with steamed milk. No fancy-pantsy, her mother's words, Keurig or other modern devices for this old-fashioned lady. They both put 1 packet of diet sugar and a dollop of milk in their cups before taking the first sip. A small plate of galetas completed the picture. First off, we will pray, her mother declared, and we'll ask Angelica to pray for Izzy too. Mima, with the hurricane that hit the Philippines, Tia Angelica has way too much on her prayer schedule.
I don't think she has too much to pray for a dying child.
Tisk tisk, her mother said. A nun always has time for more prayers. And I will ask my Rosary and Altar Society ladies to start a novena. A miracle, that is what we need. Marissa rolled her eyes before she could catch herself. Her mother wagged a forefinger at her. Nothing is impossible with prayer. It couldn't hurt, Marissa supposed, although she was beginning to lose faith, despite being raised in a strict Catholic household. Ha! Look how much good that moral upbringing has done Steve. That wasn't fair. She immediately chastised herself. Steve brought on his problems and was not the issue today. Izzy was. Besides, who was she to talk? Having a baby without marriage? Okay, Mima, we'll pray, she conceded. If I still can. She let the peaceful ambiance of the kitchen fill her then. To Cubans, the kitchen was the heart of the home, and this little portion of the 50-year-old ranch-style house was indeed that. The oak kitchen cabinets were original to the house, but the way her mother cleaned, they gleamed with golden patina, like new. Curtains with embroidered roses framed the double window over the sink. In the middle of the room was an old aluminum table that could seat 6, in the center of which was a single red rose in a slim crystal vase. The sentiment weekly gift from her father to her mother. The red leather of the chair's seats had been reupholstered twice now by her father's hands in his tool room off the garage. A Tiffany-style fruited lamp hung over the table. A shuffling sound alerted them to Izzy coming toward the kitchen, trailing the Afghan in one hand and her favorite stuffed animal, a ratty, floppy-eared rabbit named Lucky, in the other. She didn't notice at first that her mother was home. Marissa stood. Well, if it isn't Sleeping Beauty. Mima! Dropping the Afghan and Lucky, she raced into Marissa's open arms. Marissa twirled Izzy around in her arms until they were both dizzy. She dropped down in the chair again with Izzy in her lap, both of them laughing. "Dizzy Izzy," her daughter squealed, like she always did. "For you, Isabella," her mother placed before Izzy a plastic Barbie plate of chocolate-sprinkled sugar cookies and a matching teacup of chocolate milk. Her mother would have already crushed some of the hated pills into the milk. "I'm not hungry, Bolita," Izzy whined, burying her face against Marissa's chest. "You have to eat something, honey. At least drink the milk," Marissa coaxed. After a good half-hour of bribing, teasing, and singing and game-playing, she and her mother got Izzy to eat 2 of the cookies and drink all of the milk. "What did the doctor say?"
By that point.
Some people like warm milk. "What did the doctor say?" Izzy asked suddenly. Uh-oh. Izzy knew that Marissa had gone to the medical center to discuss her latest test results. "Dr. Stern said you are growing like a weed. No, he said you're growing faster than Jack and the Beanstalk's magic beans." At least that was true. She was growing, despite her loss of weight. Izzy giggled. "I'm a big girl now." "Yes, you are, sweetie," Marissa said, hugging her little girl warmly. "Somehow, someway, I'm going to get the money for Izzy," Marissa vowed silently. "It might take one of my mother's miracles, but I'm not going to let my precious little girl die. But how? That is the question." The answer came to her that evening when she was at La Cucaracha, the salsa bar where she worked a second job as a waitress and occasional bartender.
Ooh.
Well, a possible answer. A porno convention?
Oh!
That was abrupt.
Oh!
Hang on. "A porno convention?" she exclaimed, at first disbelieving that her best friend, Inga Johansson, would make such a suggestion.
Oh, I see. She's Gandhi.
"More than that, the first ever International Conference of Freedom of Expression," Inga told her. "Bull," Marissa opined. They were in the back room of the restaurant taking a break. They wore the one-shouldered, knee-length black salsa dresses with ragged hems, Cucaracha's uniform for women. The men wore slim black pants and white shirts. They were both roughly 5'8", but otherwise completely different. Where Marissa was dark and olive-skinned, Inga was blonde and Nordic. Where Marissa's figure was what might be called voluptuous, Inga's was slim and boy-like, except for the boobs she bought last year. The garments they wore were not meant to be revealing, but to accommodate the restaurant's grueling heat due to the energetic dancing, they needed a break occasionally just to cool off. Inga waved a newspaper article at her and read aloud. "All the movers and shakers in the freedom of expression industry will be there. Multi-billion-dollar investors, movie producers, internet gurus, actors and actresses, store owners, franchises." "Franchises of what?" Marissa interrupted. "Smut?" Inga made a tisking sound and continued. "Sex toy manufacturers, instructors on DIY home videos." "What's DIY?" Marissa interrupted. "Do it yourself." "Oh, good Lord." "Martin Vanderfelt," a made-up name if I ever heard one. "Please, Marissa, give me a chance." Marissa made a motion of zipping her lips. Martin Vanderfelt, the conference organizer, told the Daily Buzz reporter, "Our aim is to remove the sleaze factor from pornography and gain recognition as legitimate professional enterprise serving the public. Freedom of expression. FOE.
Foe.
Foe. Or Fraternal Order of Evils. Marissa rolled her eyes but said nothing. "This is the best part. It's being held for 1 week on a tropical island off of the Florida Keys. Grand Keys, a plush special events convention center, offers all the amenities for a 4-star hotel, including indoor and outdoor pools, snorkeling and boating services, beauty salons and health spas, numerous restaurants with world-class cuisines, nightclubs, tennis courts. I'd like to see some of those over-endowed porno queens bouncing around on a tennis court." Marissa had to interject. Inga smiled. I thought they always held the pornography thing every year in Las Vegas. The expo is held there, but there's more for public show. They have booths and stuff, and even an award show like the Oscars. This is more for industry insiders. Inside, all right, she said with lame humor. So cynical. Becky Bliss will be there. You know who she is, don't you? Even Marissa knew Becky Bliss. She was the porno princess, famous for being able to twerk while on top having sex. Are you suggesting we might learn how to do that? It wouldn't hurt. Maybe it would enhance your non-existent sex life. Not like that! Okay. Besides, Lance Rocket will be there too. Marissa had no idea who Lance Rocket was, but she could guess. Anyhow, this conference isn't for your everyday Joe, the porn aficionado. It costs $5,000 to attend. The only access to the island is by water. They expect to see lots of yachts and seaplanes. Marissa was vaguely aware of the private islands comprising the Florida Keys, an unbelievable 1,700 islands, some inhabited, others little more than mangrove and limestone masses. The islands lie along the Florida Straits dividing the Atlantic Ocean from the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, I give up. Why would you or I even consider something like this? Oh my god, you're not suggesting I make porno films to raise money for Izzy, are you? Of course not. Look, these articles say they're looking to hire employees for up to 2 weeks at above-scale wages, all expenses paid, including transportation, everything from waiters and waitresses to beauticians, diving instructors, even doctors and nurses. Waiters and waitresses can expect to earn at least $10,000, and that doesn't include tips, which could add to another $20,000 or more. Upscale professions, much more. Why would a hotel have to hire so many employees for just one event? Wouldn't they have staff in place? The company that owns the island went bankrupt last year, and the property's in foreclosure. In the meantime, until it's sold, the bank rents it out at an exorbitant amount. You know how abandoned properties deteriorate or get vandalized. I probably hopes one of these wealthy dudes or dudettes that's attending this thing might fall in love with the place. You know an awful lot about Grand Keys Island. Inga shrugged. I checked it out on the internet. Hey, here's an idea. You could even work as a massage therapist. Betcha lots of those porno stars need to work out the kinks. The big ones would leave $100 tips. She grinned impishly at Marissa. Marissa couldn't be offended at Inga's teasing her about the popular misconception of professional masseurs and masseuses. Kinks. That about said it all. Could you imagine what they would expect of a massage therapist at one of these events? She lowered her voice to a deep baritone and added, My shoulders are really tight, honey. While you're at it, check out down yonder.
Oh my god.
Inga laughed. I'm just saying, if you worked as many hours there, let's say double shifting between waitressing and therapy, you might very well earn close to $30,000 in less than 2 weeks. What opportunity comes down the street, honey? Jump on the bus. You say opportunity. I say bad idea. Honestly, Inga, I can't see us doing something like this. Why not? We don't have to be like all the people that come to the salsa bar, but we still serve them food and drinks. I don't know, Marissa said. There's something else to consider. If you're going to suggest that I might find a sugar daddy to pay for Izzy's operation, forget about it. But don't think that idea hasn't occurred to me. No, but there'll be lots of internet types there. Maybe you could find someone with the technical ability to set up a website for Izzy to raise funds. I already tried that, but every company I contacted said it has been overdone. There's no profit for them. Maybe you've made the wrong contacts. Maybe you met someone one-on-one. I don't know. Marissa, isn't it worth a try? Inga was serious now. I'll think about it, Marissa said, to her own surprise. Applications and interviews for employment are being held at the Purple Palm Hotel in Key West next Friday, Inga pointed out. Don't think about it too long. Don't push! They heard the salsa band break out into a lively instrumental with a rich Latin American beat, a prelude to the beginning of another set of dance music. As they headed back to work, Inga said, I'll drive. And that was Chapter 1, Vampire in Paradise.